and it uses bronze gear wheels to calculate the cycles of the cosmos being the sun, the moon, and the planets against the stars. You can wind it forward 10 years and you can know where the sun and the moon is going to be, and where the planets are going to be.
For more than a century, scientists believed that the Antikythera mechanism was an unsolvable mystery. An ancient machine so advanced, it seemed impossible for its time, capable of precisely modeling the motion of the cosmos itself. But everything changed when artificial intelligence entered the scene. After scanning every surviving fragment, AI uncovered something no one had ever dared to imagine. The Antikythera mechanism was not the only one. If that's true, then who built the others? How much of humanity's technology has been erased from history? What AI has just discovered might force us to rewrite the entire history of human science. To understand why this discovery carries such weight, we have to return to where it all began, more than a century ago, beneath the waters of the Aegean Sea. In 1901, off the coast of the island of Antikythera, a group of Greek sponge divers accidentally discovered an ancient shipwreck deep under the Mediterranean. Among broken bronze statues and shattered crystal, they hauled up a heavy, corroded block of metal, something no one thought was special. But when it dried, small circular grooves and tiny gear teeth began to appear. And that was the moment humanity first touched an enigma that defied all explanation. The Antikythera mechanism, the oldest known machine on Earth. Scientists soon realized it was not an ornament. Beneath the corroded bronze lay a mechanical system of astonishing precision, at least 30 interlocking gears, each hand-cut with errors measured in just a few thousandths of a millimeter. The device could simulate the motions of the sun, the moon, and 5 known planets, predict solar and lunar eclipses, and even track the dates of the ancient Olympic Games. That should have been impossible, at least not in the 2nd century before Christ, when the world had yet to invent hardened steel or mechanical clocks. Yet the deepest mystery wasn't in its gears, but in the inscriptions buried inside. In 2005, a research team led by Michael Edmonds and Tony Freeth, University College London, brought to Athens a 12-ton industrial CT scanner, the kind used in the aerospace industry. They scanned all 82 fragments, and what appeared on their screens shocked the world. Over 2,000 ancient Greek characters, engraved so finely they were almost invisible. These were not decorative markings. They were technical instructions, formulas for astronomical cycles, operational guides, and explanations for each mechanism's function. But most of those inscriptions had been worn away, too faint to read. For nearly 20 years, archaeologists and physicists could only guess at their meaning, until 21st century technology appeared. For the first time, artificial intelligence joined the investigation. What humans could never see with their eyes, artificial intelligence has made visible again, as if it were engraved only yesterday. AI didn't just look at the corroded fragments. It listened to the voice of the past. Every character, every gear, every motion erased by time. In 2022, the DeepMind team and the University of Oxford introduced Ithaca, the world's first deep learning model trained specifically to read and restore ancient Greek inscriptions. Ithaca learned from over 60,000 ancient texts, understanding handwriting variations, grammatical shifts, and stylistic changes over centuries. When applied to scans of the Antikythera fragments, it not only recognized surviving characters, but also reconstructed missing sections using context, syntax, and mathematical logic. At first, the accuracy reached only 62%. But after collaboration with classical linguists, it surpassed 70%, marking the first time in 2,000 years that the inscriptions of ancient Greece were read in full. Among them were formulas describing planetary motion, gear ratios, and correction systems, proof that this was not a prototype, but a fully developed technology. But AI didn't stop there. From 2021 to 2024, the University College London team advanced to a new level, applying machine vision to reconstruct the three-dimensional geometry of the entire device. They fed thousands of X-ray slices from the 2005 industrial scan into a deep learning system. The AI automatically detected structures, aligned fragments like a digital jigsaw puzzle, and built a complete 3D model of the internal gear mechanism. The result left everyone stunned. Many gears shared the same ratios, the same cutting patterns, the same depths, as if made from standardized molds. A design this perfect couldn't have been created only once. It must have been replicated, taught, and produced repeatedly. The idea that Antikythera was the only one began to collapse. The faint inscriptions on bronze have now become data, and the corroded gears have been brought back to life through algorithms. AI has allowed the past to live again. And from that data, a series of new hypotheses began to form. Revelations so shocking that you might feel a chill when you hear them. Let's begin with the first hypothesis. The Antikythera mechanism may be the last surviving representative of a once widespread technology that flourished in the Greco-Roman world before being lost through centuries of war and collapse. Because if Antikythera truly was the first computer in human history, it doesn't behave like an experimental prototype. There are no design flaws, no unfinished components. Every gear meshes perfectly. Every ratio is mathematically precise. So precise that even modern engineers admit this was a finished product, not the first draft of an idea. The structure itself shows craftsmanship far beyond the trial and error stage. Mechanisms such as the epicyclic gear, the eccentric pin, and the pin and slot drive are not inventions of an amateur. They reflect a long-standing engineering tradition, refined and passed down over generations. This was not the genius of one man. It was the legacy of an entire mechanical school. Ancient evidence supports the idea of a production line. The philosopher Cicero once described two astronomical devices built by Archimedes, capable of reproducing the movements of the sun, moon, and planets. After Archimedes' death, the devices were brought to Rome and detailed in his work, De Re Publica. When researchers used AI trained on ancient languages to compare Cicero's descriptions with the Antikythera's mechanical data, the result was astonishing. Over 80% correlation in gear ratios, planetary cycles, and orbital modeling. That means at least 3 such devices once existed. 2 made by Archimedes and 1 that sank off Antikythera. But could only 3 machines reach such sophistication? Unlikely. A more reasonable explanation is that there were many more, created by a network of artisans, scholars, and astronomers who built different versions of this cosmic computer for schools, temples, or knowledge-hungry elites. Even more intriguing, AI detected tiny variations between certain gears, subtle differences suggesting that this was a copy of an earlier design. These discrepancies weren't mistakes, but the kind of deviations seen when a model is reproduced multiple times, like a craftsman duplicating a mechanical melody. The rhythm is identical, but each note bears the maker's touch. Thus, the Antikythera mechanism may not have been a lone masterpiece, but one piece in a series of creations once built, used, and circulated among the intellectual elite of ancient Greece. The tragedy is that all the others, and the knowledge to make them, were wiped out by history. The Roman wars, the burning of Alexandria, and the floods that consumed Syracuse. The next question arises. If the Antikythera mechanism was not unique, then who was it made for? Among more than 2,000 characters engraved on its surface, AI uncovered a detail that few had noticed. The calendar used by its maker was not the Athenian one, but the Corinthian calendar. This type of calendar was specific to the regions of Epirus and Corinth, both associated with the temples of Apollo and the aristocratic class of ancient Greece. This suggests that the Antikythera mechanism was not a general research tool, but quite possibly a custom-commissioned artifact built for members of the elite or the religious hierarchy. The context of its discovery supports this theory. The ship that carried the Antikythera mechanism was not an ordinary merchant vessel. When salvaged, its cargo included bronze statues, crystal vessels, jewelry, gold, gems, and precious stones, all luxury goods. This indicates that the ship may have been a diplomatic transport, carrying intellectual gifts, offerings, or cultural symbols exchanged between powerful states. By 2020, scientists at the University of Athens conducted lead isotope analysis on the alloy used in the mechanism's gears. The results traced the copper to the Laurian mines near Athens and to Cyprus, two of the finest metal sources in the ancient Mediterranean. The very process of sourcing and refining these materials implies a sophisticated supply chain, one that required substantial wealth, coordination, and purpose. This leads to a compelling interpretation. The Antikythera mechanism was not merely a scientific instrument, but a symbol of power, a gift of knowledge meant for rulers or high priests. Just as modern leaders exchange luxury timepieces as emblems of precision and mastery, the ancient Greeks may have exchanged mechanical models of the cosmos, objects that represented human intellect, divine order, and control over celestial forces. AI even detected phrases engraved on the mechanism referring to a sacred solar cycle, matching rituals of Apollo's temple calendar. This revelation led scholars to speculate. Could the Antikythera mechanism have played a role in religious ceremonies, used to predict the precise moment when the light of the god would reappear in the sky? If so, then the mechanism was not merely an astronomical calculator. It was a symbol of faith and intellect, crafted to prove that humanity could hold the laws of the universe in its hands. And when the ship that carried it sank beneath the waves, that secret and the civilization's understanding of cosmic order went down with it. There is another, even bolder possibility. The Antikythera mechanism was not a gift, but the product of an ancient scientific research institute. The details within the device show a level of understanding far beyond its era. The planetary gears, eccentric pins, and pin and slot drive mechanisms are innovations that would not reappear until the Renaissance. This has led scientists to believe that only a team of specialists working together could have created such a system. When AI was used to analyze archaeological data from Rhodes, Alexandria, and Pergamon, it discovered something remarkable. Several ancient texts from the same period described bronze wheels and models of planetary motion, all dating to the 2nd century BCE, the same era as the Antikythera mechanism. Coincidentally, it was on the island of Rhodes that the philosopher and astronomer Posidonius established a school devoted to mechanics and astronomy. His students were trained in orbital calculations, gear construction, and the making of precision instruments. AI detected that several technical terms engraved on the Antikythera mechanism perfectly matched terminology found in surviving writings from Posidonius's school. Moreover, AI-generated maps of ancient scholar networks revealed that researchers often traveled between Rhodes, Alexandria, and Epirus, forming an interconnected triangle of intellectual exchange across the ancient Mediterranean. This supports the hypothesis that there once existed an ancient technological institute, a place where engineers, astronomers, and philosophers collaborated to build mechanical models of the cosmos. But as the Roman Empire rose and war spread, these centers of knowledge gradually vanished. The Library of Alexandria burned, thousands of technical manuscripts were destroyed, and the craftsmen and scholars who once built such devices likely perished or were captured. Perhaps the Antikythera mechanism was the last surviving device, loaded onto a ship to be carried to safety, a ship that never reached its destination. 2,000 years later, when AI scanned every fragment and trace of corrosion, it did more than restore an artifact. It revived the memory of an entire scientific civilization erased by time. If this hypothesis is true, then the Antikythera mechanism is not a puzzle at all, but the final message from a vanished institute. We once knew how to control the universe. If the Antikythera mechanism was not unique, where are the others? This question has haunted archaeologists for more than a century, and perhaps the answer still lies beneath the Mediterranean Sea. Over the past 2 decades, international archaeological missions have recorded more than 1,000 ancient shipwrecks across the waters of Greece, Turkey, and Crete. Yet only about 5% have been excavated. The rest remain buried under silt and coral, sealed beneath layers of sediment several meters thick. Ironically, the Antikythera itself was almost overlooked. When it was first recovered in 1901, divers thought it was nothing more than a lump of corroded bronze. It sat in a museum storeroom for nearly 2 years before a scholar noticed the gears inside. If that could happen once, it could easily be happening again, meaning another Antikythera might already be waiting in the dark. In 2017, a new breakthrough came. The Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, HOI, and the Hellenic Effort of Underwater Antiquities deployed an AI-driven underwater robot called Seabed Constructor to scan the seabed around Antikythera. Using sonar and ultra-high-resolution 3D cameras, the team discovered 5 new shipwrecks, all dating to the same period as the original. Intriguingly, fragments of bronze with gear-like teeth were found scattered nearby. By 2019, several copper samples were recovered and analyzed at the National Archaeological Museum of Athens. Under an electron microscope, researchers identified radial engravings and crescent-shaped slots, closely resembling the Antikythera's mechanical structures, though confirmation is still pending. Today, scientists believe many more ancient computers may remain hidden among unexcavated Greek-Roman wrecks. As AI-powered sonar, deep-sea imaging, and 3D reconstruction technologies advance, discovering a second Antikythera may be only a matter of time. If that happens, it won't just prove that the Antikythera was not alone. It could open the door to a new age of archaeology, where AI becomes the eyes that peer through the darkness of the ocean to restore humanity's forgotten memory. All the evidence, from archaeological findings to material analysis and AI reconstruction, points toward one conclusion. The Antikythera mechanism was not an isolated phenomenon. It is the surviving remnant of a technological era that once reached astonishing sophistication, then vanished from human history. The device shows that the ancient Greeks did not merely observe the heavens. They attempted to mechanize them, transforming the motions of the moon and planets into gears, rotations, and numerical formulas. In an age when most believed Earth was the center of the cosmos, They created a machine that functioned like a miniature astronomical computer, something modern science has only recently been able to simulate. And now, artificial intelligence, the defining technology of the 21st century, is decoding the mind of a civilization 2,000 years old. From DeepMind's Ithaca language model, to machine vision reconstructions of its gear geometry, to the AI archaeology pipeline developed by University College London, all these efforts converge in a single goal: to rebuild history without ever touching the original relics. In other words, AI is no longer just predicting the future. It is resurrecting the past. And that past is whispering a chilling truth. Perhaps ancient humanity advanced far beyond what we've imagined. Perhaps they once held the principles of the universe in their hands and lost them. The Antikythera Mechanism is only the beginning. As AI continues to expand its reach into the depths of the sea, we may soon witness the next chapter of a lost technology, one that once changed history and now prepares to return. So what do you think? Among these theories, which one feels closest to the truth? Leave your thoughts below, hit like and subscribe, because the answer may be waiting just beneath the sands of time.